Hey Zen fam. So, just to give you a little idea of what I was talking about in the last video, this is roughly what I'm kind of thinking of. So, rate, favourite, comment, share, subscribe, and of course, support Scottish YouTubers. Right Zen fam, so I'm back to my normal size. Let's talk about this GameStop store refresh. I've got it on half speed, so hopefully I can go through it. Liking these t-shirts here, although they're going to be a real horrible thing to have to refold after customers unfold them and unfold them and unfold them. Like the idea of this couch here, but then soft furnishings and the public, trust me as someone that works in a coffee shop, that could be a sticky point. I like the idea that it's a GameStop that's not got like a million Funko Pops, that actually does a few. That show, the colour scheme, I like this. It's a bit more muted, a bit more grown up. Perhaps game stores could be taken a bit more seriously with this kind of colour scheme. I like the centre space in this store. It's definitely something to be appreciated. I like there's a bit of storage. Obviously these cupboards down below, that's more for staff storage, which will just make things a bit neater. I'm liking this sort of cupboards, I'm liking the TVs, I'm liking the lack of wall-based paper advertising. Better for the environment, do it on tellies, good move, and also it's easier to update. And it doesn't require lots of setup by the staff after hours. I love this retro gaming area, this is a really good thing. I reckon they're going to have like a ticketed system, so you can only be in so long so people don't abuse it. And I like the idea of a table in the middle for tabletop. So that means game stores can also sell tabletop games. Like this thinking. I like this till idea, the till is in the middle, but I want to know how secure the tills can be so nobody can fiddle the tills. Like the public can't get in. That'd be an interesting thing to figure out. I'm liking obviously this wooden floor. The wood floor is a good idea, better than the carpet. It's easier to clean, it's easier to maintain, looks neater, looks cleaner, and looks more grown up. And also carpets get worn out. Loving the way they're selling these retro systems there. Even a Wii, which a lot of game stores now in many parts of the world will not take anymore as trading credit. And it's just as a nice open space with nice colours. They're not like drab, but they're not like in your face. This little tablet here on the wall I find very interesting. I would assume that each tablet is analogous to each store, so therefore if you're making a purchase on this tablet, then the store would get credited for that sale. That would have to be the case, otherwise why would the staff even point towards it? Would be a good way of bringing down the numbers of people coming in. So snacks are on the wall for the gamers in the back. I like the idea of snacks, but I think you've got to have some drinks and you've got to have some more grown-up snacks. Maybe something like jerky, maybe some knickknacks, Pringles. Definitely getting some other drinks other than energy drinks, like cartons of fruit juice and like maybe some sugar-free alternatives. Definitely make something a bit more different about it. But all in all, I do like the design. I like the way they're headed. I like the lighting. And I've said a long time ago, I think Game here, on my side of the Atlantic, could stand to do something similar. In fact, if anything, I said this a long time ago when Game came back after it nearly went away forever. Because some of you out there may remember that we nearly lost Game. It nearly just disappeared on us, and that would have been a crying shame to have lost Game. So as it stands now, this is an idea for what some of the GameStop stores in North America could possibly look like. I think it's a template more than every store will look the same, but I think the ideas are solid. I mean, proper gamer chairs at the back, nice comfy chairs for the tabletoppers, space to move around. I think it's to work the music out as well. Have staff that really know and really understand gaming and are willing to talk about it and get involved with the public. I can see this being a really good idea as long as it, as far as GameStop is concerned, it doesn't end up being too little too late. And I think games should definitely do this. And I've noticed game stores, from what I've seen, generally tend to be a wee touch bigger than GameStop stores in the States. Obviously, it depends upon the outlets I've seen footage on. There could be some very big GameStops, and there are some teeny weeny little game stores that I've been in. But most of them are a reasonable size and at least a wee bit bigger than what I've seen here. And I think it just seems to be a much more pleasing environment. I think it could also be quite good if there was like perhaps a lending library of sorts, you know, sort of like renting games. You know, I mean, okay, yeah, you've got digital downloads and all the rest of it. But the ability to rent games, maybe rent equipment, because back in the day, in the States at least, you could rent systems from Blockbuster Video. Sorry, for you youngins, Blockbuster Video is basically a brick and mortar store where you could go in and you would rent movies in a physical format. At one point it moved to DVDs when DVDs were kicking off, but before that they came on videotape. For videotape, Google search it, depending on how young you are. And I think Game in the UK could easily adopt something like this. Obviously, it would have to be rolled out slowly over time. And I think it would be the thing that would help games survive past the launch of the next gen consoles. Because after about 2, possibly 3 years of PlayStation 5 and Xbox, then the only thing really keeping the game stores going will be the disc supplies, selling additional consoles, and peripherals for the consoles. And of course warranties. But is that really enough to keep a chain of stores going nationwide? I mean, in my city alone, there are, I think, 4 game stores, maybe 3. And Edinburgh's not that big a city. Now, admittedly, I like the fact there's a good smattering of game stores here, but there used to be more before the big upset that nearly caused game to go away. I think also having a more arcade-like element at the back, you know, maybe a few standing units, not those mini ones. I mean proper arcades. You know, it's like, but 3 or 4 classic arcade machines at the back you have to pump the money into. That would bring in a few quid. Obviously buying the snacks and the drinks would cost you a few quid. And maybe like if you're at the gaming table, you know, the tabletop table, obviously you rent the games that the store would have, and you would pay a lesser rate for bringing your own games in, a sort of BYOB, if you will, but for games. So I think there's a lot of scope behind this. In fact, if anything, since they have that area at the back that has gaming chairs, they could feature a gaming chair of the month. You know, they could feature equipment. They could have a bit set aside for streamers. It's sort of like, this is your streaming gear. Look at this. This is the green screen you could buy. This is the chair you could buy. This is the stream deck, your microphones. You know, I think there's a lot of scope here that game could easily fiddle with and tweak to their own desires. And I think, yeah, this is how game would continue on past that initial 2-3 year period. Because if we lose game stores, if we lose brick and mortar places to go as gamers, then that would be tragic. And 1, that's the jobs. 2, it's nice bumping into other gamers and just talking. Because we don't really. You know, we sit in our houses, we bash away at the games, and occasionally we play online with each other. But most of the talking comes down to, right, I'll go around here, I'll finish the guys on the left hand side, you go around the other side, get the blokes beside the car, I'll lob in a few grenades, and I'll throw in some stun grenades, and then we'll finish them off, and then any struggles that come in from the left hand side, you know, the kind of chat that we do on top. We need other kinds of places to come together, have a blether, and just sort of like go, dude, Have you got blah 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 blah? No, but remember blah? Yeah. That kind of gamer chat you only get in a store with committed staff that care about the subject matter, and other gamers likewise. I think that's definitely the way to go. So, continuing the new model. Remember to support Scottish YouTubers. Hashtag support Scottish YouTubers. Aye. Nae bother.